I've been attempting one of the most impossible challenges in all of Football Manager. I tried to take a team in the 6th tier of English football to winning the Premier League in only 10 seasons, and I've got to say so far, it's broke me. I took over as Dorking manager when they were in the 6th tier with the aim of winning that Premiership title, but now, 7 seasons in, we're still sitting in League 1, and it's going to take a miracle if we're going to pull this off in 10 seasons. But I'm going to do what I can. But so far here at Dorking, we've actually done a pretty good job. We've managed to get one of the best youth systems in the country despite only being in League 1, and whilst we aren't doing well in terms of trying to win the Prem in 10 seasons, we've certainly made steady progress. I just think I might have set the expectation a little too high on myself. Now, last season in League 1, we narrowly missed out on the playoffs, finishing in 7th place and only 2 points away from what could have been a potential opportunity to go up to the Championship and kind of keep our target on track. But as fate would have it, we're now spending another year in the 3rd tier of England, with odds really to get relegated. Yes, there's a 50-1 chance to win the league, but the game's expecting us to be in a relegation battle with 21st place predicted. But we've done a pretty good job so far of bringing in the right players to try and take this team to another level, and in this summer, in season 7 out of 10, I've nailed it, I think, in the transfer window. Because we made a record transfer fee for our Dorking side, who in 1999 were founded in the Sunday League, and now here they are in 2029, only 30 years later, in League 1, and selling a player on for 1.9 million. This is Christian Sadie, who we bought him from Portsmouth last year on a free. He scored 21 goals in 39 games, and now Serie A side Parma have bought him for 1.9 million. So we've made a nice bit of money, and that really helped us financially in terms of being able to bring some extra players in. And we were also able to add to that transfer pot with a sale that I didn't really want to do but was taken out of my hands. Our right back, Jaden Camerson, who I thought could potentially go all the way to the Prem, is somebody that I had big hopes for, but last season did not want to extend his deal. He decided that he was going to leave at the end of this transfer window, so I thought the former Manchester United man, we may as well try and get a fee for him. So after 2 games this year, he's moved on for £300,000, which gave us over £2 million to spend on a Dorking team where so far we've only bought in free transfers and we've never signed anyone for real cash. So this was the first time we actually had a decent budget to improve the squad. And job number 1 was to replace Jaden Camerson at right back and also improve our general depth in that area. So I think we've got a brilliant signing here by getting Steven Sessegnon, the Ivorian international at 30 years of age, in as a star player on a 1.8 grand a week contract, which is pretty low for what kind of player he is. He's coming in having been at West Brom most recently, but he has been playing League 1 and Championship football for a while, so he knows this level, he can play in both areas, and I think is going to be a great addition to our team. But looking to the future, I was able to sign a young player that again I think could go all the way to a Premier League level, which will help because we have lost Camerson, which of course was a huge loss to take. But Ricardo Phillips is the player we bought in, a new gen 21-year-old Trinidad and Tobago international who we have bought in from Nottingham Forest, having been let go there on a free transfer. He hasn't played all that much in his career just yet, but he has a big future and could go on to be a superb player for our side. We needed some extra depth on the wings in our 4-4-2 shape that we've been playing, so I've decided to bring in Harvey Vincent, an English 23-year-old who's got some electric pace and can operate on either side. Now, he's more of a winger than he is a left or right mid, but we can definitely train him to be able to play that area. We have bought him having been let go from Leeds on a £3,000 a week deal, and at age 23, he is probably one of our best talents. But to keep that depth coming on those wide areas where we have struggled to find players in the past, I've been able to sign another one to help our team, a new gen by the name of Paul Moore, a Northern Irish 21-year-old who has been let go by Burnley. We swooped him, given him a contract, and that's kind of the vibe we've been going for here, buying these players that have been let go by the bigger clubs and hoping that they made a mistake. But the one that might make the biggest difference for us this year is the replacement for Sadie, who of course left for around 2 million. We have bought in a player on loan to replace him for the season from Manchester United. His name is Ben Haywood. The game has labelled him as the next Michael Owen potentially, which if he's anywhere near that level, he's certainly going to help us in League 1. As far as strikers go in this division, it's unheard of really to get a player of this quality. I think he's that good, and we're only paying 600 quid a week for him. We just got to hope Manchester United don't recall him, because he Probably good enough to play for their first team with a little bit of growth. That's how good this kid is, and we have got him for the season. A £10 million man, definitely the best player to have played for Dorking ever at this stage, and I'm hoping he's going to be a big part of what we try to do this season. Now, we have been operating in a 4-4-2 system during the course of this rebuild, and right now we are going to keep sticking with it with some players that I think we can be really proud of having carried them up the divisions, like Michael Eubank, who came out of our academy all those years ago and is now a League One level player. The same with Jules Saka. We picked him up from Newcastle a couple of seasons back, and now he's making his own way in the team, age 20, as one of our best. We've got Daniel Ajay as well, who of course was so good for us in his first few seasons, scored 24 goals in League One, bagged it in League Two as well. Hopefully he can have another good season for us. But for all the good players I think we've got, and for the business I think we've done, remember, we're still predicted to near enough get relegated, so clearly our squad is not at the level of the other teams in this division, but we're going to give it our best shot. With this being season 7, we need to get promoted if we have any chance of completing our 10-year challenge. Now, after the last transfer window, I felt like I'd made some pretty good signings that could surprise the league and maybe help us do well after just missing out on the playoffs last year, and I've got to say, I'm a transfer genius. We got it bang on the money. Because we were amazing this season, managing to get some top results like when we went to AFC Wimbledon and we stuck 5 past them. But that wasn't the only top result, because when we went away to Carlisle, we managed to put 5 past them too in another 5-0 win. And outside of that, there was a bunch of other great victories as well. In fact, we won 6 games by the margin of 4-0 this season, one of which was against Crewe. And you might have noticed a lot of the goals that you saw scored there were by that man that we bought in from Man United on loan, Ben Haywood. And I've got to say, lots of players played well, but he was unbelievable, because he pretty much single-handedly has taken us to the championship, winning the league with 90 points, 6 points clear of Birmingham and 7 of Bradford City, who also go up with us. We lost 10, we drew 9, a goal difference of 43, but what I want to point out is how good of a signing this was. Remember, we're paying 600 quid a week to United for the top goal scorer in the league's best player, and also the guy with the most assists. This is a striker that can do it all. Daniel Ajay was also absolutely fantastic up front with 16 goals, but all credit has to go to Ben Haywood with 28 in the league, 14 assists as well. A generational performance in League One and one of the best that we'll ever see in this division, I would have thought. He was unbelievable. Daniel Ajay was great as well. New signing Harvey Vincent also stepped up, and Steven Sessegnon was another one of our best players, as was Ricardo Phillips, and it kind of just proves the players we've brought in have been the ones that have made the difference. I think a lot of these guys can easily be championship quality. We're not going to be expected to do very well, but we'll do our best in the championship to try and stay up, survive, and I say that's going to be our aim instead of getting promoted, because despite the fact that we haven't really got that long left of this rebuild, the championship is going to be tough. We've been given 500 grand pretty much of transfer budget, barely anything in the wages. The only way this is going to work is if we have a huge sale or something like that, because right now we're definitely not championship ready, and with only Season 8, Season 9, Season 10, 3 seasons to go left in this challenge, we have to get this bang on. And this transfer window in the championship has been an exciting one. You can tell this rebuild is ramping up now as we get towards the end, because we've had some big sales, and also I think we've signed some stars for the future. Before we see them though, if you are watching this video, you're on episode 3, you must be enjoying it by now. If you could smash the like button, it really would mean a lot and would help the videos massively. If you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you do that as well on the road to 50k subs, and comment down below what challenge you'd like to see next. A big thank you for all the support, but let's start off with our sales, where we've made an instant flip on a free transfer in Harvey Vincent, the lad that we picked up last season on a £3 a week contract, got 9 goals, 9 assists, played well, in comes Sampdoria of Italy for 2.9 million, and take him off our hands. It's been a big sale for us, gave us a lot of cash compared to the budget we originally had. He's getting a mega wage there too, makes his way up to play in Italy, so good luck to him, but that meant more money for us. And we also made a nice bit of cash on Jeremiah Chalokwa Mullin, who is a 27-year-old Scot that we picked up in our first season in League One, but really stepped up to the plate at centre-back last year, and now he moves back to the Scottish First Division for 1.2 million. The former Liverpool man will be playing for Kilmarnock, and that raised nearly £4 million for us to reinvest in our squad. And this was by far the biggest budget we've had in this rebuild up to this point, which meant we could sign some great players. But before we see them, if you'd like to get access to this rebuild yourself and play it, you can find the links to the save files over on my Patreon, linked in the description. It is the best place to support me financially as a creator, and a massive thank you to you guys who are already over there. You help pay for an editor, thumbnail designer. I reinvest the money to make the content better for you guys, so a big thank you for any of the support. Not only do you get the save files for this rebuild and every rebuild we've ever done, you also get early access to the videos, rebuild polls as well to decide what we do next on the channel, general updates and unique content over there as well. And we're going to be introducing, for these long form series, a feature where a few patrons will get picked out to have new gens in the game named after them. So Ben Haywood could have been, you know, John Smith or whoever it is that joins the Patreon, and you can watch yourself go on and maybe help us win the Premier League, win the Champions League in these saves. So if that sounds interesting, go check it out. I'd massively appreciate it. But let's now see who we brought in. My first new addition to the team is a player that I think will go on to be a Welsh international, 22-year-old Jason Williams, a player that we have signed from Manchester City, having been let go from them, having been out on loan in Belgium for a couple of years. He was with Reading in League One a couple seasons ago, but now at 22 has been released, and I think is a great player. Might be a 5'9" centre-back, but we're going to bring him into our squad and hopefully have him as one of our mainstays at the back. Speaking of Welshmen, we've also picked up 22-year-old Nathan Andrews, an option at defence who isn't going to be a starter but will operate as a squad level player, signing from Cardiff, having been let go from there. Clearly though, we love a Welshman because we've gone out and signed another one, a right back that can play centre-back in the form of Dave Williams, a 21-year-old who has the potential again to be a Welsh international. Now, he was at Watford and has been let go by them, and I think we've got ourselves a pretty good player here. I mean, he was playing regular League One football at 21 already for a team that in Watford you'd assume is better than ours, so you know what? This could be a great addition. I felt like our goalkeeper position needed some extra reinforcement as well, so we went out and signed a player that I think is at least championship quality in Woody Williamson, a 25-year-old goalkeeper with a brilliant name who was let go by Ipswich, but has played for Bolton in League 2, played for Scunthorpe in the National League North, and has featured occasionally. He was Ipswich's backup during their time in the Championship. So for us, I think he'll be a nice player to have. But now I'm going to start ramping it up in terms of player quality. First signing for us was Kean Coke Miles Smith. He's a left mid coming in to replace Vincent that is arguably just as good, if not better, having been let go by Reading, where he has already been playing Championship football, but quality-wise is one of our best in that area. But the next few I'm about to show you are the ones that I think could take us to glory here in the Championship. Coming in first was Mohamed Jame, a 22-year-old Swedish international who is one of our best players and can operate as a striker with electric pace, acceleration and agility. He comes in having been let go by Fulham, spent last season in Croatia and did well, never really got the crack at Fulham, but he is someone that I really think could be a top-level Championship player with that speed. But without Ben Haywood here, we needed a main man up top to be our striker in the Championship, so Marc Guiu is a fantastic player for us to pick up. The former Barcelona and Chelsea man in this save never got the crack at Chelsea, went out to Reading, Coventry, MK Dons in League 2, so he's been playing at a really low level, and eventually Chelsea have let him go. We've picked him up, and actually, I don't know how he was playing in League 2, because right now, this guy's good enough to be a top-level Championship striker, and we've managed to sign him at Dorking Wanderers. Barcelona to Dorking, a bit of a switch, but we're not going to complain. But our strike force has been bolstered even further now because Marc Guiu is going to be partnered by David Luke, who is an Austrian international, 7 appearances, 2 goals, 22-year-old, who we have picked up as a free agent, having been let go by Forest. He was signed from Man City, loaned out to Australia. No idea how he hasn't had a crack anywhere because he looks like a great option. Huge potential as well, and we have got a real bargain here managing to sign him for our team. I've also picked up another speedster for the right-hand side, an Estonian international 21-year-old Jarmo Jarv, who already has 41 caps for his national side at only 21. And then for the first time, I've spent money on a player, signing Colin Fleming for our midfield area for 190,000 from Spurs. Our scouts rated him really highly. They think he could go to the top, so at age 22, he's going to come in and be a real talent for us in the midfield. And finally, we do have a loanee. Coming in on loan from Sunderland is Sam Croasdale, who is going to be our best right wing. Formerly of Liverpool, he's someone that will feature quite often, I would assume, on that right-hand side where there's not that much competition, and hopefully will do a great job for us. But this is what is now considered our best 11, and it's changed quite a lot over the last few seasons. Williamson is our best goalkeeper, while Sessegnon, who is going to be leaving us at the end of this year, doesn't want to sign a new deal, is still our best right back, but I'm sure we'll have Ricardo Phillips trying to battle for that area too. Williams and Saka is a back line alongside Eubank, back with Croasdale on the right, Valentine supposedly still as our best left wing. The Jamaican 26-year-old joined us in the National League and is still a key player for us in our side. We'll see if he can take the step up to the Championship. New signing Colin Fleming partners Terry Devlin in midfield, and then it's a totally new strike force of Luke and Guiu, who I'm hoping together can cause some chaos in the Championship. Now, prediction wise, the board just want us to, give it a good go to stay up. They wouldn't even mind if we got relegated, and actually the game thinks we are going to get relegated in the 22nd place spot. 250 to 1 odds of winning the title, near enough impossible at season 8 though. If we're going to win the Prem in 10 seasons, this is where it needs to happen. We need to get promoted to give ourselves 2 seasons to have a crack at the Prem. It'll be pretty tough, but we're going to go for it in a Championship. First aim is survive. Okay, everybody hold your horses, because I thought this rebuild was done and dusted. In 10 seasons, winning the Prem looked impossible considering last year we were in League 1. In Season 7, we got promoted, and now in the Championship, we made it to the playoffs. And only just 2, because in the last game it was between us and Sheffield United for the final playoff space, and Mark Guiu scored in a 5-1 victory against QPR. And interestingly, in that game it was all new signings, 5 different new signings that scored the goal. So clearly our transfers were working well, and now here we were in the playoffs with a chance of making it to the Prem. And our first opponents were Birmingham, a team that came up with us from League 1, showing that it is actually possible and it's not just a fluke from us to get into the playoffs. And Mark Guiu got us off to a flyer at our home stadium. And in the second half, the joy continued as Fleming found Miles Coke-Smith, who tucked it to Guiu, who got his second of the game. And we put ourselves in a great position in the first leg as Mark Guiu scored a header to get his hat-trick and put his 3-0 up. But we weren't done, because in the 90th minute of leg 1, we added an extra goal as Valentine got his head to the ball. It came out to Eubank, our academy player, who scored one of the best goals you'll ever see. Birmingham, though, weren't giving up easily, and Jay Stansfield managed to score a consolation towards the end. And that was that. After leg 1, we were 4-1 up. We managed to win the next game 1-0 at Birmingham Stadium, sending us to Wembley with one shot to make it to the Prem in our first season in the Championship. Our opponents on the day were Sunderland, with a side that featured the likes of Callum Hudson-Odoi. They would have expected to get the win, and it was a tight game until the 83rd minute where Terry Devlin scored, and somehow, we made it to the Premier League in our first season in the Championship. I say somehow, there's a good reason why we did it. And it's called elite transfer business, because we brought in some unbelievable talents that came in and did the business straight away. Our best 4 players, all players signed this year. First, Mark Guiu, with 27 goals altogether, 23 in the league, and an unbelievable season. Up next, Sam Croasdale, in on loan from Sunderland, the team whose promotion place we took. He was great for us this year with 20 assists from the right wing. Exceptional stuff. David Luke partnered Guiu and played the support role basically next to him with 2 assists and 19 goals in an unbelievable year. And then there's Mohamed Jammeh, the player that was basically our third choice up front, so he'd come in for the last 20 minutes of every game, used that raw pace, and scored 14 goals and assisted 7. Steven Sessegnon scored 10, but it was great to see the likes of Jules Saka, who's been here for so long, doing so well for us. On top of that, we had Michael Eubank, who scored 1 goal all season, and it was that screamer in the playoffs. Our academy man carrying us all the way to the Premier League. Nico Valentine as well, scoring 4 goals, and he's still got another couple of years on his deal. This is a man that joined us in the National League, and now he'll be playing Premier League football. It's great to see. We've done an unbelievable job here so far at Dorking, and now for the moment of truth. We go into the Premier League with a budget of £27 million. Dorking Wanderers have 27 mil to spend. This club is going places, and now as we head into season 9, we've got 2 years to complete this challenge of trying to win the Prem. So here we are, 9 seasons on from taking over as Dorking manager in the National League South, and now we're in the Premier League. With this being our 9th season, we need to win it this year or next if we want to hit our target in this rebuild. And to make sure we do that, we needed some new signings, and I think I've done a pretty good job. Firstly, one for the future, Saudi Arabian international 19-year-old Jamal Sufyani has joined the club on a 21 grand a week contract. He comes in from Al Hilal, and that's going to be a new thing, by the way. Giving out pretty big contracts compared to the back in the day when we were paying people 100 quid to play for us. Now, a lot of our players who've been here for ages were asking for new deals, so a lot of people have got some big contracts with them now. But of course, we now have money to spend, and we started to spend it. We weren't just bringing in free transfers. We signed Tommy Casey, a 22-year-old Republic of Ireland international, signing from Wolves for 325k. Uruguayan 20-year-old Andres Vasquez has joined us also. He signs from Wanderers out in Uruguay for 450 £100,000, a bargain really. We have a new goalkeeper between the sticks, a much higher quality one at that as well. Woody Williamson is out, and Timothy Lo Tutalala is in goal. 29-year-old who was playing for Paris FC, that has been at Spurs, Stevenage, Hull and West Brom across the course of this save. We also spent 500k on one for the future in Seydina Koulibaly, a Senegalese international who we've loaned back out to the club we signed him from in Generation Foot. 500k is a bargain really for what we've got here. Jesus Contreras was our next player coming in, a 21-year-old Venezuelan international who already has 36 caps for his nation, has big potential, and is signed for Caracas for 775k. 1 million was then spent on 21-year-old Uruguayan Julio Cesar Aires. Now you might be thinking you signed too many players in one position. The idea here is to try and buy as many young players as possible in the hopes a few of them could be, you know, big profit players. Some won't make it, but some hopefully will sell for big money, having shined their light in the Prem, and we've only paid 1 million to Liverpool FC for his signature. We then had Manchester United fullback Harry Mas joining the club at age 25. He's actually been out at Swansea and Walsall in this save. In the Championship he didn't really play, but he comes in as competition for Eubank at left back, and I think will be a great addition to our lineup. Then there was Gergely Toth, a 22-year-old Serbian under-21 international with a name that I absolutely love, to be honest with you. We've signed him for 1.4 million from TSC in Serbia, and he isn't exactly amazing just yet, but I think he could be great. But our biggest signing was a very good talent in my eyes in Alejandro Guerra, who is the Ecuadorian international 23-year-old who we've signed from Leicester for 3.3 mil, a record-breaking transfer for our club. But we haven't exactly broke the bank with the signings we've made, and I still think our team is much improved. Because to be honest, we are making a big reliance on youth here. This is a very young side, and I'm hoping we survive this season in the Prem, and then these players are the ones that will grow and help us win the league. I don't think they're necessarily at that level just yet, of course. We can't compete at the minute with the other Prem clubs. Our reputation, because we've been promoted so quickly, is still super low. If you have a look, we've only got a 3-star rep, which is basically low-level championship. We're not exactly attracting the world's best talents here, but we're doing our best with it. We've got a very good team. I actually didn't show you this guy who we brought in as well, Claudio Petrilia, who looks like a Romanian Stefan El Sharari, to be honest with you. 31 years of age, a bit of experience, coming in from Millwall, formerly been in the Romanian divisions before that, but he was always good for Millwall in the Championship, so this might actually be a pretty big coup for us. But this is now our best 11, and it is pretty much changed completely from what we had only a couple of years ago. In fact, I mean, yeah, there's no one left from pre-championship era, at least not in the first 11. Some of those players like Saka and Valentine are still on the bench, and our team is now ready to go in the Premier League, where the board just wants us to fight bravely against relegation, but after the transfers, the game thinks we are going to finish in 20th place, 1,000 to 1 odds of winning the title. They don't usually give those odds since Leicester won the league way back when, but here we are. Our two best players are considered the two worst best players in the division also, so maybe we're not going to stay up after all, but if we want to complete this challenge in 10 seasons, we need solidity this year and then win it in the next. And I can't lie to you, in the Premier League this year, we really struggled, to be honest with you, and we got some terrible results, particularly at the start of the season. For example, in November, we faced off against Crystal Palace in a month where we didn't win a single game or pick up a single point, and we lost 6-1 to Palace on the day. And we really were being shown the difference in quality between these Premier League sides and our Dorking side, who realistically are probably only about as good for the Championship. We lost again 3-0 to Villa, and there was many other losses included in that. We did not draw many games at all. We lost the majority, but thankfully, we picked up a few wins here and there in games you might not have expected. And really, it all started in a match against Manchester United. In a packed stadium, we had Man United come to Dorking Wanderers, and we went 1-0 up against them in the 28th minute. And only a couple minutes later, it looked like this might be the game to end our bad spell, as Guevara got in the box and found Valentine, the man from the National League, scoring in the Prem. But of course, United have quality, they have money, and have a way better squad. And they got back into the game later on, as Bailly found Hoyland for his first of the game. But unfortunately, just before the half-time whistle, Hoyland got his head to another ball to make it 2-2. But as time ticked on, in the 73rd minute, we managed to find what might have been the winner through a great strike from Phillips. But I don't think United wanted the embarrassment of losing to Dorking, because with 77 minutes on the clock, they got down our right-hand side and made it 3-3. But this game was nowhere near done yet, and Mark Guiu made sure of that with a great header to make it 4-3. And right from the centre, guess what? There was another goal, this time going back to Manchester United as Arda Güler managed to breeze past our defence, found Alex Varley who scored the equaliser, but we had worked too hard in this game to let it go, so only 1 minute later after that, Harry Amas went down the left to Patria, who played the cross in, found Marc Guiu, and he scored again. And with only a minute left, Marc Guiu got on the ball, got his hat-trick, and secured the biggest victory in Dorking Wanderers history, beating Manchester United 6-4, and that was amongst a few other good results, which carried us to an unbelievable 15th place finish, which isn't as good as it sounds because we were only 2 wins away from relegation. It was a very tight year this year, 30 points Southampton, 30 points Villa, 31 points Norwich, but Fulham and Wolves did worse than us. We had a minus 24 goal difference. We didn't draw many games at all. We actually lost the most of any team in the league with 23 losses, but we won a few games. I mean, we won 11, some great results as well, getting some victories out of nowhere that you wouldn't expect. Currently, by the way, it is Arsenal whose dominance we're going to have to topple because they've won it for the last 4 years, but we were so good this season because of one man, Marc Guiu. This man was the second best goal scorer in the division and was the reason that we survived with 23 Premier League goals. An unbelievable signing, really, for how well we were able to pick him up on a free transfer. Honestly, the man to keep us up, it was him. If we have a look as well, by the way, we are currently expanding our stadium, but for quite a lot of this season, we were playing in, I think it was the AFC Wimbledon Stadium, so we weren't actually playing at home at Meadowbank, but we have maxed out our youth facilities at this point, and we have stayed up in the Prem, which is huge news for our Dorking side. And it wasn't just Guiu that did well. Chris Moore also did well when called upon, our academy man that's been with us since the National League South. Great to see him scoring a Prem goal, our academy developed player going from the bottom division to the top and scoring, which is something that I wanted at some point in this save. David Luke scored 14, Jamé scored 2, lots of great performers in the defence as well. Colin Fleming was excellent, Michael Eubank, when called upon, did well. Our goalkeeper had a good season too, and we've just managed to stay up, and unbelievably, we will be spending our season 10 in the Prems. There's actually a chance we could do this. £46 million in the overall balance, crazy stuff. Debts and loans, there's nothing. We've got £55 million of transfer budget, and as we head into the last season, who knows what's going to happen. Now, for those of you wondering, by the way, Mark White is no longer in charge of the club because he left us last season as owner and we had someone new take his place. He didn't sell the club, someone just got promoted and took his job, so he's moved on as Mark White. But here we are as Dorking Wanderers with a £55 million transfer budget, and you best believe I'm going to go spend that. And in season 10, we went for it in the transfer market. I think we've massively improved our team. Before I show you that though, this is the last time I'll ask in the video. If you are still watching, either you fell asleep or you're enjoying it, and if you are awake, hit that like button for me, it would mean a lot. But just to let you know, this is the last season of the challenge to win the league in 10 years. It's what we've aimed to do, the impossible rebuild. But should we not win it in this season, this video will continue it until we win the Prem, because I want to make sure that we finish off this challenge. Even if it takes us longer than it was meant to, I still want to do it. I'm having so much fun with this save. So strap yourselves in. Either this could be the end of the video, or there might be a few more seasons after this. Who knows? Hopefully you don't look down now and see the video is 2 hours long, else maybe it hasn't gone quite so well, but we have done really well in the transfer market. We made some money on the sales front, mainly from this guy, Sam Chambers, a Scottish international formerly of Leeds United, who we picked up last year. I forgot to show him through our transfer list because we signed so many players last season, but he joined us, actually played way more than I thought he would, mainly off the bench, and is now left at 5.5 mil. Gurgly Toff, whose name that I loved, but he wasn't a very good player, we sold on straight away. Our scouts really got this one wrong, but we have made a big profit. He was never considered good enough for the team. Terry Devlin, the man that scored the playoff goal to take us to the Premier League, has moved on, and it kind of shows you the level of players we were working with when he's a player that's only about good enough for Stockport at the lower levels of League One. But on the incomings front, I think we have massively improved the side with some players that have really bright futures. Firstly, Elias Pina was my first signing, a Chilean 19-year-old international from Colo Colo for 1.8 mil, which is great value for what we've got. Abu Kargbo is going to be our new right-wing option, a Dutch 24-year-old signing from Southampton for 2.5 million, where I think actually they've underused him. He's clearly a very good player. Maybe our best signing so far though is Andrei Razvan Sibilica, who is a Romanian 19-year-old international who we have loaned back out for the season to Farao Constantanta. He cost us 3.4 mil, but we bid out Inter Milan for his signature, so clearly there's a player there, and actually at 19 he's probably good enough for us already, so next season hopefully he'll be even better. But I also signed another good young player in 21-year-old Norwegian international Pau Lorentzen Dale, whose name I have probably butchered, but we bought him in from Bodo Glimt for 3.4 million as an excellent signing in the midfield. We've got a new goalkeeper as well, a Mexican international 21-year-old who's already playing for his national team, signing from Pumas for 4 million. His name is Jesus Esquivel and he has big potential, as does Amir Collins, our new left wing, an English 23-year-old who we've picked up from Manchester City for 5.25 million. Again, another great option to improve our wing areas. But our biggest signing was Onyekashi Akpan, a German 21-year-old international who we have spent £21 million on from Man United. They were kind of discarding him, but I think he could be one of our best players, can play left back and right back, and after Steven Sessegnon left, it's time for him to step up and be our new main man in the defence. Now for this final season, season 10 of trying to complete the challenge, I will stick with a 4-4-2 because it's got us so far. It's probably not the best tactic to actually try and win it. We've got to at least give it one shot of trying to win the Prem with this system. Now our best 11 is a pretty interesting one, to be honest, because a lot of these guys did join us way back when we were in the Championship, so that's great to see they're still with us now, like Fleming, Williams, the other Williams, Phillips as well. So we are building a strong squad here, but our strike force is the thing that I think could really guide us. Mark Guiu and Luke together, I'm hoping, can be a deadly duo. Now if we have a look, the board still just want us to give it a fair crack of staying up. We're still predicted to go down 1,000 to 1 odds, so clearly we're not as good as I think we are, but last season we proved everyone wrong, and today we're going to try and do it again by trying to win the Premier League with Dorking Wanderers. Cross your fingers, everyone. Don't check the timestamp at the video. Let's see if we do it. Okay, there's two ways we can look at this season that we've just had in season 10. If we're being realistic, we would say we've had a great year. This is way better than we should be doing, and our players have done us proud. But just because of the challenge, I can't help but feel like it's a failure because, spoiler alert, we didn't win the league. And I knew that wasn't going to happen because after about a month into the season, we were really struggling, and it was only towards the end that we started to pick it up, getting results like a 3-1 win against Palace, a 92nd minute win against Brentford as well, and sticking 3 goals past a pretty poor Nottingham Forest side. But it was all a little bit too little too late. We started the season slow, picked it up, and like I say, we didn't complete the challenge, but we did have a good year. Because we hit that grand 40-point total that every club afraid of relegation aims for, we finished in 13th place, not bad at all, with 41 points. 32 points was the relegation zone, so there's plenty of clubs in between us and relegation, so we can start now looking up instead of backwards. 12 wins this year, still way too many losses. I think our tactic has affected us in a pretty big way defensively, to be honest. In fact, if you actually have a look at the team detailed stats of this season, I think we've got the most goals conceded out of anyone. Yes, we have 93. The next closest was 71. So we need to shut up shop. Either that or our defense isn't very good at all. We're actually pretty good in terms of goal scoring, but defensively, we need to make a change. So I think I will adjust a tactic for this coming season. But there were some great performers I think we can be happy with. David Luke was fantastic once again. A player that's been getting better and better during his time here at Dorking. Mark Guiu, of course, excellent once more. And Dale, the Norwegian midfielder, he managed to score a bunch. Akpan was great. Petrilla was also really good in his last season for us, the Romanian. And yeah, all round, a good season, but we didn't hit our target. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue this rebuild. I might go a bit quicker through the seasons from this point until we eventually win it, but we've got £56 million to spend. The club is in a great place. We're still working on the facilities. We're improving the stadium. Our reputation is still pretty low, but financially, the club is doing really nicely. And Mark White, if you're watching, I've got your club to now be valued at 927 million. Nearly a £1 billion valuation for Dorking. If that's not a good sign that we've done something right, I don't know what is. But let's go and take a look at what signings we bring in season 11. So here we are, 1 year after the rebuild was meant to be complete with a big budget, and we spent it. I'm aiming to win the league, and we have gone for it with the players we've bought through. And at this point, we are now starting to find the wonder kids that I think could actually be Premier League level winners at some point in the future. Predrag Djevic is our first one, a Serbian right back, 20-year-old who could go to the very top. Johan Ubeda is a fantastic Spanish left winger with brilliant agility that we've picked up for only 3.8 million. Formerly of Atletico Madrid, he is a high caliber option on the left. He'll have competition though because South Korean 21-year-old Kim Byung-ju looks like he could be one of the world's best wingers. 5 million from the South Korean leagues where he has electric pace and agility, amazing dribbling and crossing. This guy would be so much fun to watch in real life. We've got a new left back as well, 25-year-old Darren Wooden signing from Coventry. Tomori for a fee of £7 million, where I think he could be a great addition in that left-back area. Centre-back has been improved with a Norwegian 25-capped international at only 23 in Ingvar Skabu, who has joined us from Bournemouth for £8 million on the transfer list there. We spent £9 million on another goalkeeping option to really add some competition between the sticks. Rhys Colwill is a Welsh international, the Welsh international, formerly of Liverpool, then of Leeds, and he is now our main man in goal. But my biggest signing for £9 million was Alex Martin Gomez, adding some extra depth to the midfield for a midfielder at age 24 who was attracting interest from some big clubs. We signed him on a release clause, formerly of Madrid. We picked him up from Elche, and he is going to be straight in our first team, straight in our best 11, almost certainly. If we have a look now at what that best 11 is, you'll see that we have adjusted our best 11 slightly, because I am now going for a 4-3-3 system. I didn't think we were quite ready for 4-2-3-1, a little bit more expansive in attacking. I want us to be solid defensively first. I think we have the attacking talent now especially, but defensively I do think we are still lacking. So we're really going to put the focus on having bodies back, keep the ball at the back of the net, and trust our attacking talents to do the rest. Of course, this season we do have Siblica, the Romanian midfielder who was out on loan last year, who's got better and better. He's going to come into the first team, and in fact I imagine it will look something like this when we're ready to go at some point in this season. A very good midfield lineup here. Guevara, who we picked up from Leicester, has got better and better too. The only unfortunate part of this is the one striker system will mean that Guiu is now only going to become our backup striker, but he'll still be extra useful. And if we have a look, for once, are we predicted not to finish last? We're not. Cardiff are expected to be just as bad as our Bristol City. Clearly nowhere near winning the league title just yet. With this young side, they might just need time, and who knows? This could be the one. And so far, during this rebuild with Dorking, silverware hasn't really came our way. In fact, we ended up going through the playoffs and second place in most of our promotions. I think we won the League 1 title and maybe the Vanarama National League, but they're the only trophies we've picked up in this save. No FA trophy, no Johnston Paint, nothing like that. We haven't won any trophies. So this year it was extra special when we made the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. Our opponents on the day were Middlesbrough, who were doing quite well in this save actually, and they went 1-0 up at their home stadium to secure a victory in leg 1. But when you come to the Dorking Wanderers Stadium, it's a different kettle of fish, still with a very small capacity, but in the 67th minute, we managed to get back in the game after an own goal went in. So into extra time we went, with a chance of making it into a Carabao Cup final and get our hands on our first bit of silverware. Casey found Siblica, who hit a brilliant shot past Trafford to get us the win. And with that, it was time for a final. A Carabao Cup final at Wembley, a big day out for Dorking, and we were facing off against a pretty good team in Arsenal, who, if you remember right, have been winning the league non-stop in this save so far. And there was absolute bedlam in the stadium after only 2 minutes. Jules Saka powered a header home, a man that we bought in back in League 1, helping us to a Carabao Cup win, or so we thought, because Martinelli came up the other end and scored a goal. But there was still one more goal in the match to be had, and it was King Buon-Ju, who we saw had amazing dribbling earlier, and he went past the whole Arsenal team, powered home, and that won us a Carabao Cup. It's not the Premier League in 10 years like we were aiming for, but I was so proud to finally win something with our Dorking team, which of course as well qualifies us for Europe next year. But you know what, everyone? We would have had it anyway, because we finished in 7th place above Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton, 67 points, miles away from Man United, who have won the league for the last 2 years. Bournemouth finishing second, but another, 10 points or so would have saw us in a Champions League space, so I'm delighted with it this year. Siblica, one of our youngest players, has been amazing in terms of assists. David Luke was great in front of goal with 25 goals himself, and all of these young players are really starting to step it up and come along. And one player I want to point out, Jules Saka, the man that scored in the Carabao Cup, the Congolese 25-year-old. Look at when he joined us. League 2 he started playing for us, and now here he is in the Prem, a mainstay as well, not even like a sub, a mainstay in the first team. I don't know how still, but he is. Lots of great players performing brilliantly for us this year. And now we go into season 12 with a budget of 55 million. We've got our club in a great place now. Facilities are working up. Reputation is still low, but we're going to keep pushing. This Dorking side needs to win the Prem. Maybe next year will be the one, but we need some big signings to keep improving. And now it starts getting special. We have made a mega sale and spent a bunch of money on incomings. And remember, if you've enjoyed this rebuild, if you think you could do better than me in actually complete it in 10 years, the rebuild files are over on Patreon. I want to see you guys getting them, giving it a go, and seeing if you can do a better job than me. But let's get into who we sold and who we signed. Firstly, we have had Onyekachi Akpan, the guy that we signed in our first year in the Prem. He has left the club on a release clause fee of 30 million to Leicester. I think we're in a better position than Leicester, so I'm surprised that he's joined them, but you know what? Good luck to him. The German 23-year-old is out. And amongst many other sales, I want to give a shout out to Nico Valentine, a player that you'd look at and assumed would be crap, but no, this guy's been with us since the National League. He's scored goals everywhere he's went, scored a goal in the Premier League for us as well. A great story this was, and now he's playing for QPR in League One. Good luck to him. What a player he's been, what a servant. The fans love him, and now he's off. Coming in, we have some top talent. So firstly is Andres Garcia, a 24-year-old Uruguayan international who we've bought for 27 million from Fulham. A great left-footed centre-back is something we needed, and he comes into our team to help us. Another big money signing was Frank Salim. I wanted some goals from the right wing, which we were lacking, so the 25-year-old Congolese international has joined us from Leeds. £24 million was the fee for a man that has bad goals everywhere he's went, so hopefully he'll do it here too. Festi Ebesele is our new backup right back. The Irish international 32-year-old has signed from Benfica for 6 mil, and Luis Medina is coming in as one of our best centre-backs, a Uruguayan international, also 19 years of age, signing for 6 million from Nacional. And we actually have a labelled wonder kid choosing to join us at Dorking. A future French international, 20-year-old David Cathala, was playing his football at Basel and done unbelievably well. We've activated his release clause of 10 mil, and what a player we have signed. Someone for the future, and now here is our new best 11, and actually, I think we're stacked, and I think this team is a lot better than people would give credit. And just to prove to you, Escobar is still our goalkeeper and looks very good. Our right back has came along pretty well in Jevic, but you're starting to see these players now developing into unbelievable talents. Dave Williams, the right back and centre back option, is great, but really, it's the midfield where I think we have absolutely nailed down the transfer business. Martin Gomez is, in my opinion, a world-class level midfielder. He could win the Prem. Siblica, I could say the same about him. Look at those attributes at 21. Guevara, a brilliant creative player who I think again has Premier League winning quality. Salim, Ubeda, these are players that I think could do the business, you know, and Kim Boing-Zhu being on the bench looking this good. Maybe we could do it. I mean, if we have a look at the season preview, we are predicted to finish in 16th place still, but the odds have gone up slightly and we are playing European football. So in some fashion, it's something new for Dorking. Will this be the year? I doubt it, but let's go on and kick on and let's see what we can do in what is now our 10th, 12th season at the club. And I'm going to say it right now, this Dorking rebuild is going to go down as my favourite that I've ever done, I think. We've had many favourites on this channel over the years, but the time we put into this and the results that we've got, I mean, National League South to the Prem, we've gone and won the Carabao Cup, and this season, it's just got better. Because in our first season in Europe, we made it to a Europa League final. Granted, we had a pretty easy route there, beating Lask in the semi-final, but Brighton was our competition and they went 1-0 up after 5 minutes. But this was Dorking in a Europa League final, and after everything we've done, of course we had confidence that we could be the team to win this competition, and Fleming scored a brilliant goal. That made it 1-1. The man signed for only 100k, and it stayed level until the 85th minute when Pina picked up the ball into Gureva, who scored, put it in the back of the net, and we won the Europa League with Dorking. And when I say that's only the start of this season, it really was. Because we made it to the FA Cup final as well. The competition on the day was once again Brighton, and Adam Wharton for them picked the ball up in the 21st minute, and eventually they powered it home to make it 1-0. And it was a really tough game actually. After the Europa League final, they clearly wanted to get their revenge, but in the 80th minute, Ubeda pulled it across, the ball came out, and we powered home for an equaliser. And it was an extra time when there was bedlam. The cross came in, Jammeh headed it home, and we have managed to win the FA Cup, the Europa League, and the Carabao Cup now with Dorking. All that was left was the Premier League. You can imagine where this is going. We were great all season in the Prem, and we were actually in a title race from minute one. Liverpool were one of the teams around us though, and with 2 games left, they managed to beat us 1-0. And as it went, we got into the last game of the season needing a win to win the title. Of course it had to be against Brighton again. And this was an even tighter game than all of the others, and there was only 1 goal in it. In the 23rd minute, Mark Guiu scored, the man that was written off in our change of formation. David Luke has been the main man. He only scored a couple of goals last year, but Guiu stepped up, scored the goal. and we won the Prem. We won the Prem with Dorking Wanderers. And if you don't believe me, here is the proof. We did it. Now, we were unbelievable in terms of not getting any draws, really. Only 2 all season. We lost 10 games. Not really good enough for a team to win a title. Around us, a lot of other teams lost too. There was no real standout this year. No 90-point season from anyone. 80 points is what did it, but 26 wins was the difference this season. As you can tell, though, no one guy scored all the goals for us. We were just a solid unit throughout this whole season. Everybody contributing to a bunch of goals. I mean, Jameh scored 2. Salim came in and scored 15, so that was a nice bonus to have. Extra goals we didn't have last year from the right wing. Sablika was excellent with 5. Kathala came in and scored 11 from the midfield. We have 10 from Garcia, who is a centre-back, but being so tall and so good at heading, I can see why he was able to do it. We also managed to get 10 from King Boy Zhu, 16 from Kargbo as well on the right wing, and that's not including our strikers like David Luke, who scored 15, and Mark Guiu, who scored 12. We actually did it. We won the Premier League with Dorking. Our reputation is now 3.5 stars, a £2 billion valuation, a stadium of only a 7,000 capacity, and we've managed to do it with amazing facilities, and we've actually gone down for maybe the first time really in our rebuild history as a legend of the club. We have managed to do it. On top of that, Nico Valentine goes down as favoured personnel. Who else have we got here that I remember? Alfie Rutherford, retired age 29, having left Dorking and not picked up for 2 seasons. We had Luke is going down as a Dorking icon as well. On top of that, anyone else we remember? Mark Guiu, of course he's there. Daniel Adu-Ajay, who is now playing his football at Wimbledon, who helped guide us to promotion after promotion. He was unbelievable. On top of that, Matt Briggs, I mean, he was there from minute 1, left Dorking in 2027 and then retired, having not been picked up after that. James McShane as well, another legend of Dorking Wanderers. But here we are, Dorking Wanderers, Premier League winners. The rebuild is complete. Let me know what you want to see next. Thanks for sticking with me if you're still watching to this point, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.